Boeing shares losing some altitude. Let's get right to Phil LeBeau with the details. And Phil, here we are once again, 737 MAX in focus.
Yeah, and it's a temporary grounding of the 737 MAX, Scott, but this is certainly nothing to do with the MCAS flight control software, which was at the heart of the issue over the last couple of years. And this is a relatively minor issue that should be a relatively quick fix. So here's the story. Boeing telling 16 of its airline customers, look, we want you to temporarily ground the 737 MAXs that you have. Not all of them, just some of them. We're talking about 80 MAXs. These are all MAXs that were delivered after the FAA ungrounded the airplane in November. So these 80 planes with these 16 airlines, there's a production change that caused a possible electrical issue. The fix time could be a couple of hours. At most, it could be a couple of days. But no doubt, this is a black eye, and certainly on a public relations level for Boeing and for the 737 MAX. Southwest has 30 of these MAX planes that it has pulled from its schedule. It's able to make up any impact on the overall flight schedule with spare aircraft and adjusting some of the passenger schedules. American Airlines, it's looking at 17 of these MAX airplanes that are in its fleet right now, and United has 16 of them. The impact in terms of the shares of these airlines, very modest today. Scott, this is a short-term issue. By the middle of next week, people will not be talking about this. Again, it only takes a couple of hours at most, maybe a couple of days to identify and then correct the issue if they find it in any of these planes. And again, it's a potential issue with the electricals within the flight cabin.
Yeah. Well, as you said, it's a public relations issue as much as anything else. And not to minimize it, I mean, that may be the most important thing for Boeing at this point. The stock itself has been a monster. Before I let you go, Phil, I understand there's some more General Motors production cuts we're hearing about now?
Right. The company just announcing that it's going to be trimming its weekend overtime shifts in Fort Wayne and in Flint. Those are two plants that build pickup trucks, and the truck market is red hot right now. But look, if you don't have the semiconductors to meet that demand in terms of production schedules, you got to trim. And this is what we're seeing from all the automakers. Not a major cut, Scott. They are also going to be bringing back production during the traditional summer downtime at the end of June, early July. So what they're trying to do is adjust what they can't build right now, make up in the second half of the year.
Understood. Phil, thanks. Have a good weekend to you. That's our Phil LeBeau reporting the latest for us there. Steve, let's go back to Boeing for a moment. The stock's been a monster. Does this have any impact on where it goes from here?
If we all sat in a room and we told, we heard all the negative news about Boeing, we would say that the stock would be dramatically lower than where it is now. It's been building a base. When you look back to June, that sell-off in June, from that June low all the way through November, the beginning of November, then it just rocketed out of that. So I truly believe that the market just kind of brushes aside all these worries. They've taken the brunt, all the bad headlines that were much worse, as Phil just said, than this latest headline. It's affecting 67 planes, 16 different airlines, and yet everyone is saying Boeing is going to be okay. It's up 18% year to date. Probably shakes this off, as Phil said. There's too much demand, and they really have a duopoly on the marketplace, Scott.
And Guy, I mean, it's smack in the center of the reopen trade, and that's what this is really all about.
Yeah, a year ago, see, I take this as a positive. A year ago, you probably don't hear it from Boeing. You hear it second, third hand, and the stock is down 8 to 10% over the course of a week. They're in front of this. To me, it's a good thing. It's sort of this new Boeing mantra, it appears, as though they're trying to get in front of things. By the way, they just had a huge order out of Alaska Air, Southwest Air. They did a $1.6 billion deal with the Navy. They reported April 28th. I mean, to me, this is actually a positive. Stock didn't really react to it. I think it goes up in earnings at the end of the month.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.